So my guest today is a pipe fitter at a local 597 from the windy city of Chicago. Been a pipe fitter for the past 10 years, turned entrepreneur, and is now the founder of Trade Fuel Coffee. Welcome to the show,
Go ahead.
Rob Weber. Rob,
Thanks for
happy to have
having
you.
me, Josh. Thank you. Yeah, appreciate it, man.
Absolutely. So how's things in Chicago today?
It's sunny out. We're finally getting that weather break. I was told when I was an apprentice, you get 2 good months out of the year to work, and that's April and September, and we got it early. So this is perfect. It's hot or cold normally. This is great.
That's exactly right. Yeah, we'll take this break. My gosh, it's been cold. It's been a cold winter here in Ohio. I'm assuming it's been the same there in Chicago.
Yeah, we had a couple weeks of 5 degrees and freeze
Man,
ups, and you know, you're not exactly inside for a lot of those. So,
right?
it sucks, but it is what it is. This is a life we chose.
Yeah, no doubt. For whatever damn reason we did.
I know.
Uh, I don't know that we'll ever have the answer to that, Rob. But
Yeah,
anyway,
well, yeah, school wasn't
yeah,
for us, right?
right, exactly. Exactly. So let's talk about your discovery of the trades. You were a tradesperson, you were a tradesman first, pipe fitter out of
Yes, sir.
597. What led you to that route, Rob?
So my grandfather and my dad are both just studs of working people, working class. My grandpa was a carpenter, grew up on a farm in Southern Illinois, and that's like my personal hero in my life. My best friend looked up to him, just like salt of the earth, Southern Illinois farm boy that moved to Chicago, to make a life for
Yeah,
himself.
man.
And since I was a little kid, he's been, just working and never stopping. He's almost 90 now, and this dude was swinging a hammer till a couple years ago when he had a stroke.
Mm,
Um, but just seeing him and kind of his tenacity and he's a bulldog. I mean, I've never heard him complain. There was never any excuses of like what we couldn't do. It was like we're just gonna do it and talk about it later. That's literally his saying is do it and talk about it later. So growing up with that guy as a mentor has been just like the coolest thing ever. And a lot of that got passed down to my dad. My grandpa's more of like the bulldog, we're gonna get it done thing,
yeah.
And my dad is like precision with that bulldog attitude. Um, they're both just uh tremendous carpenters. My dad can work on anything, and he's the same. He'll just figure it out. There's no excuses. There's no problems, only solutions. So just growing up and having to work on everything ourselves. Um, we never hired anybody to do the roof. We never hired anybody to do the concrete work. I was child labor and I didn't have cable. So my dad's like, all right, let's go. So we're outside working on stuff. So those two are, and I hated it at the time. When you're a kid and you're just doing all the labor and your friends are out playing or riding bikes and you're pouring concrete or putting concrete siding on the garage and painting the house or whatever it was, we were doing it, which was hindsight, the best childhood you could ask for.
Man, you're not kidding.
Um, so those 2 guys just having that work ethic, I I thought that was normal in, like, a man. Um,
Right.
and then the more I heard about it I heard the stories about my grandpa growing up, like, he was just strong as an ox and just outworked everybody. I'm like, "Yeah, but that's just my grandpa. Like, that's just what
Right.
we do?"
Isn't that what grandpas are
And then
supposed to do? Yeah, right.
yeah, that's what I thought they were, and then the older I got, I'm like, "Oh, there's not many people that match that hustle."
Nope.
And the ones that do, which are my grandpa, my dad, and then, I have a really close friend who was one of my bosses, we can get into that in a little bit, he's got that same hustle. Um, and between those 3 guys and then quite a few guys in the trades, that have taken me under their wing and taught me a lot, it's the only place I've seen work ethic like that.
Yeah.
Where it's physical, you have to think on your feet, um, measure twice, cut once, that whole deal, which
Yep.
you know how that goes in real life,
Uh,
that doesn't always work that way, but,
no, rarely.
yeah, it's just
I could
the
measure
the
3
total
times.
package.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, right? That total package of the physical work mixed with you have to be quick and think constantly, um seeing that is like it was normal to me as a kid, and now I'm in it, and now we're taking the reins, and it's pretty awesome to do that. So yeah, so I would see the neighborhood dads. We were always working on something.
Yeah,
And I'm from a blue collar neighborhood on the south side of Chicago. I had an insulator across the street, firefighter next to him, electrician next to him. Next door neighbor was a cop, and then the president of the the laborers lived 3 doors down. So
dude,
it's a blue
that's
collar
middle
neighborhood.
America
Like
right there.
it's middle America, and
Yeah,
anybody
man.
that knows Chicago, most of the blue collar guys are in my neighborhood or the neighborhood next to it that I grew up in. That's like the city workers. That's a lot of tradesmen and cops. And yeah, so the neighborhood dads would come over and they'd see my grandpa out there because anything we were doing, he was involved with, and he just couldn't be stopped.
He's a legend.
And he is. He's a legend. Yeah, he is. He is a beast of a human being. It was pretty awesome to have. I got super lucky.
Man, you're not kidding. You're not kidding. So you grew up with that influence, that work ethic, that hustle, and obviously, um, yeah, you're really lucky to have that. A lot of people don't. But man, just seeing that drive and people so close to you, people that you look up to, that prepped you for what was to come. How did you get into the pipe fitters itself? How did you get involved in the trades? So they're carpenters. Did they work together? I'm assuming they worked together as business. Man, they should have.
Yeah, so my grandpa had a home building business, and he was a trim carpenter. And then my dad's actually went a whole different route. Um, he was doing home building and carpentry, and then he went to architecture school, and he took that route. Now he's a principal owner of an architecture firm in Chicago. They do crazy custom. I'll send you the website later,
Yeah,
so you can look at some of his stuff. It's just super cool, one-off, custom, high-end homes and buildings. Yeah, so he went that other route, but he kept the real life skills of knowing what works and what doesn't.
yeah,
So he's not the architects that we talk about where it's like, that's not going to work, dude. He's
yeah.
like, no, I know that'll work because I can do that. He's very practical, which is pretty cool to see.
I thought that's
Yeah.
funny. You hit on the. It's not the architects we talk about. So their influence led you into pipe welding. You go from carpentry that you grew up. I'm assuming you grew up helping them too. What made you want to take it in a whole different direction? What led to that?
I grew up watching Monster Garage at my grandpa's house.
Are you serious?
And yeah,
Okay.
Jesse James was like the man when I was a kid. Yeah. So I grew up, I didn't have cable. So I would go over to my grandpa's house on the weekends. We'd work on some stuff and then they'd be, Monster Garage marathons going on. And I was always a gearhead. I just
Yeah.
loved cars, bikes, anything with a motor. We had dirt bikes growing up, all that stuff, down towards my grandpa's farm. And seeing the skills on that show, um, and Jesse James just being like a badass, just the coolest guy, around.
Yeah.
Uh, I needed to do something like that. And then the carpentry stuff was great, but something about welding and beating on metal and kind of the culture around it because it's just a bunch of like badass dudes hanging around shops and there's like it's glamour shots, It's what's cooler than a welder. They get like all the glory. That fitter that's fitting that whole system up is like in the back, like I did all the work. This guy's holding the rod. So it was a lot of that. Just seeing different stuff on TV mostly, and I didn't know any uh welders at the time other than my great uncle who was a pipeliner in a 597.
Okay.
But I didn't see him weld. He'd been retired for years and years by the time I was even looking into it. Um, so when I was 16, I was like, I'm gonna do something with this. And I drove to a place called Cut Weld, and I went and bought an oxyacetylene setup, and I just
Is this a
started
local supply
trying.
company?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I think they're in Worth or Alsip, Illinois.
Okay.
Um, but I went and bought my own oxyacetylene setup, and I just started doing sheet metal stuff. And I was like, well, I want to build choppers like Jesse James, so let me figure this out.
Right.
So me and my dad, we had a table in the basement it had I think we bought it for like 50 cents at a church sale, my grandparents' church sale. Well, it was hardwood base. So I'm like, "Dad, I need something to shape metal, and this is how they're doing it." Right off of, God, what's the one, Motorcycle Mania, when he's
Yeah,
showing you, how to, heat the aluminum and, with a acetylene torch and how to shape stuff on a sandbag
yeah,
and everything. So my dad with a circular saw, we started cutting out a bowl out of this hardwood base, and, I'm back there, and I didn't know they were using aluminum and not steel, and so I'm buying,
right.
16 gauge steel, and I have a shaping hammer that I bought offline, and I'm heating it up, and I'm beating this thing, but I was able to start shaping some metal, and, um, yeah, that's really what sparked my interest is just the influence of, like, these cool shopper dudes, car builders, combined with the work ethic that I saw from people around me. It was I was just like, "I gotta do something."
So you get started in your basement, and you're forming metal. From 16 to, well, I'm assuming like 18, did you do anything in like a career school? Or did you go to a career center or do anything like that? So you were just in high school, you go down in the basement. What were some of the projects you got into with, with your basement equipment?
I built little this is out in my dad's garage. I built little, like, chopper oil tanks for under the
Okay.
seat, and, um what did we do? We built one of those trikes, a drift trike. So
Okay.
we had hills in my neighborhood. We'd go bomb hills on drift trikes and all
Hell
types of
yeah.
stupid shit. But um, I went to a Catholic high school in the city, so they had nothing,
Right.
trades related, which is a huge problem.
Man, it
Um,
is. And you're the second person
yeah,
I've talked to in a week that came from, like a larger city. I mean, a huge city, Chicago,
yeah,
and had no exposure to trades.
yeah, nothing.
That's crazy.
And
So
it's
literally, man,
so
when you
funny.
say, go ahead.
That's my neighborhood. So like,
Yeah.
it's all
That
tradesmen you're surrounded by. Like Why is there no stepping stone to then go join a local union? Why aren't they picking from these, these trades programs that they could have places for high
Man, you're
school
not kidding.
students? And they can pick from
Absolutely.
the talent pool. It would help them out immensely, you know?
Oh, man. Yeah, and it helped people like you out, being
Yeah,
able to have access to that because you didn't have that, so for 2 years, you're doing stuff to keep your interest in the basement. You're building little drift trikes, all kinds of stuff, after dad helped you build some, metal forming stuff in the basement, so you're keeping your interest all through high school. Where was that avenue to get into pipe fitting, and how did you figure that out?
yeah. So I'm a college dropout.
Alright.
Also in high school, I worked HVAC for my buddy's uncle.
Okay.
Um, he was a Chicago firefighter, and he's like, "You got to get into nursing." And I'm like, "I don't know what I'm going to do with my life." I didn't like school. I wasn't a bad student, but it just wasn't for me. I'm more of a hands-on learner. I like tactile skills, something that's got like a feel to it.
Yeah.
Um, and so I followed his advice and other people around me. It's like nursing's a great career. You work 3 days a week, you make X amount. I'm like, okay. Well, I did 2 years of the gen eds, and I was like, no.
No.
Uh, so I dropped out. I called my dad. I'm like, dude, I'm not doing this. He's like, do what you want to do. Well, just by chance, I was in Western Michigan at the time. Just by chance, Kalamazoo Community College, that's right down the street, had I didn't know it until I got in it, an awesome welding program. So I go there, I meet the teacher, I sign up. It's like a 30-second of the price of normal college. It's like
Really?
$800. It's like $800 per semester a year. I can't remember. It
Wow.
was nothing compared to, a standard degree college.
Right.
I get in there and I have the coolest, smartest teacher I could ask for, Eric Martin, if he's still there, Kalamazoo Valley Community College in Kalamazoo, Michigan. Um, Farm boy, huge mustache, strong like bull, and this dude was just the way he structured the program. Um, it made sense. You would do classwork, you would go out in the shop, you'd test it. Here's what went wrong. Here's what went right, and then you'd analyze everything afterwards. And he would break it down to, make sense to people like me.
Yeah.
Um, and he kept telling me that he made the most money when he was pipe welding. So most of his money was when he was traveling as a pipe welder. I'm like, okay, so that sounds good. Well, I
Yeah.
know the fitters are a huge union in Chicago. So it was on my mind, but I wasn't going there yet. I didn't know what I was going to do. I did that for 2 years. I started getting all my structural certs. And then when I came back to Chicago, my dad's buddy, that he was a hot rod guy growing up, he
Hmm.
was a machinist. And I'm like, well, I want to go hang out around he's got badass hot rods, motorcycles, just a cool dude, John. And so I started hanging around in his shop with him, just like talking hot rods. And he goes, hey, there's this young guy over here. He's probably 28. And I was 21 at the time. Um, 2021. And he's like, he's the best sheet metal fabricator, car builder I've ever met in my life. He's like insanely talented. Do you want to meet him? I was like, yeah. And he's like, I could probably get you a job sweeping floors. So I'm like, okay. So he's like, he calls me later. He says, Al Vershave, AVS Fabrication. That's the third on my list for the hardest working people I know.
Okay.
Um, I give him a call and he goes, we'll come in tomorrow. We'll do a little weld test. We'll just talk for a little bit and see if it's a match. Um, so I went in there. I'm welding on some plate or whatever. We talked for a little bit. He goes, you want to start tomorrow? I'm like, yeah. So the very next day, I was working in, from my childhood dreams, I was working in a chassis builder shop
Man.
as a welder, learning from this guy that was 6 years older than me. Um, and just clicked on a different level. Just like he's still one of my best friends, just a great dude. Clicked on a different level where he was teaching me stuff, but as an older brother, not as like he wasn't some crusty old dude that didn't want to help you. He
Yeah.
would work with you and teach you, but then he's also keeping that structure. So like he will spank you if you need it, you know?
Absolutely. He had the line. He
Yeah.
drew the line in the sand. There was a barrier there.
And
Yeah,
we met that
absolutely.
line quite a few times, you
I'll
know?
bet so.
We have that relationship, me and him. It's the best though. Yeah, no grudges held. Um, while I was there, we're building a 61 Pontiac Tempest for a guy. He happens to be a VP of a pipe fitter company, and he's in my union, local 597. And he comes up to me, this is 3 years in, and he goes, hey kid, I'm like, what's up? He goes, you like working on this stuff? I go, I love it, man. This is what I've been wanting to do since like seventh, eighth grade, whatever, you know? Um, and he goes, you want to be able to afford it? And I'm
Ah,
like, yeah. And then he hands me his business card. He goes, give me a call. I'm like, okay. And that was kind of my push of like, if this doesn't pan out, what am I going to do for money? I'm getting to
yeah.
that point where I'm like, I want to buy nice things, you know? And chase that money. Cause as a young man, that's kind of all that matters.
Man, you're not kidding.
Um, yeah. So he got my attention. They know how to talk to you, you know, to get you into the trades.
They're good at what they do, that's for sure.
Yeah, and he was a nice guy and he was very smart. So I was like, "Oh, he didn't, uh, come off as, like, what people perceive as a normal tradesman."
Right.
You know, he was smart, he had money, um, just different. But my dad's like that too. They're just different. It's, like, not what you think of, like, a burly tradesman, you know?
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, then I sold all my stuff and lived out of my car for 6, 7 months and traveled the US, so that's a different story.
Really?
Um, yeah,
How
yeah.
old were you? At 21 years old, you sold all your stuff.
I was 20. I started when I was 20 or 21 there, so I was 23,
Yeah.
and yeah, the dirt bikes. I had 54 Chevy that was all slammed West Coast style, and,
Man.
I don't know what hit me one day. I think I watched too many surfing videos or something, and I was like, "I'm just gonna go try something," you know?
And so you
So I
went to
ended
the
up
West
selling.
Coast?
I sold everything, I just traveled the country.
Really?
Yeah, I
On
made it
what? On what
in,
money?
2000. Well, from selling everything, I got together
Okay.
like 18 grand, 18,
Okay.
20 grand. I kept the one car that was reliable, which was a hand-me-down '03 Toyota Corolla, and I packed it up, and I slept in the back of that thing, and I was camping and living my best life, man, and the money was
Boondocking all
going
over
down.
the country. Now, the whole time
Yeah,
you're doing this, is the only reason you did that is because you had this business card in your back pocket? That was your ace in the hole, that you knew you could make something happen with that?
I wasn't even thinking about it.
Okay. Yeah.
I wasn't even well, for
Good
that
for
allotted
you.
time. So, I I I take that back a little bit. I was thinking about it because my plan was I was gonna make my way down to Florida, and this is 23-year-old me planning, but I'm glad I could
Sure.
dream big like that. I'm gonna
Absolutely,
make my
man.
way down to Florida. I'm gonna take my time camping, seeing all the East Coast. Um, my brother was living in Miami at the time, so I'll stay with him. I'm gonna buy a sailboat down there and live there for a year and learn how to sail. Then I'm gonna sail to the Bahamas, and then I'm gonna live there for a year, and then I'm gonna take a one-way ticket to Hawaii, hence the surfing videos, and then I'm gonna join the pipe fitters in Hawaii because they have a strong union. And that was my plan, dude. And I was doing it, and
Here we are.
it did, it didn't pan out, right? It didn't
Oh,
pan
man,
out.
that's awesome, though.
Um, and anybody, yeah. And so, anyways, I made it to Florida. I did the camping thing. I bought the sailboat. It took me a month and a half, and there's nothing to do on a sailboat besides drink beer and sleep, you know? So I'm walking around burning in the sun, for a month and a half, drunk all the time. And I was like, this ain't it. This ain't it. So I sold it after a month and a half and I boogied, man. I was out of there.
That's hilarious. That's awesome,
Yeah, I
though,
came
man.
home. Yeah,
Who's
yeah.
got
I
that
came
story?
home and that's only half of it. Yeah. I ended up going back to Chicago. My brother was in Miami still, with his now wife. He still lives down there. Um, but I stayed with him for a little bit longer. And then my sister was in school in South Carolina. So I kind of, you know, tail between my legs back to South Carolina, stayed with her, and then went back to Chicago. And I was only there for 2 or 3 weeks. And the coolest thing about going back there is my grandpa was 80 at the time, and he's still swinging a hammer working on stuff.
Wow.
He had a rental property in Carbondale that was a cabin in the woods. And he's like, "You want to go make some money and put a roof on this thing?" I'm like, "I'll help you out," because he's going to do it either way. I had no
Sure.
choice, you know. And I'm not gonna let my boy down. So,
Yep.
um, we drive down there. We load up the VW that he had at the time with shingles, all types of shit. And my 80-year-old grandpa is carrying shingle packs up a 12-foot extension ladder and throwing them on the roof. And then we're
Mm.
working 10, 12 hours a day. We ripped the old roof off, put the new one on. We're hammering down shingles. We didn't have an air gun. He was swinging a hammer at 80 years old and not one complaint. And this is summertime. And that expectation from like a male influence, that's why I have a hard time these days
Mm.
with like grown men complaining in their
Mm.
30s, in their 20s. I'm like, dude, you don't. When men were men, different cloth, you know?
Boy, you're not kidding. Try being a high school
Yeah.
welding instructor.
Yeah, I'm sure you hear it all the time.
Man, well, I mean, the first year they're in my classes, we're trying to develop some grit. I'm finding that gravel in your gut somehow because we need
Yeah.
it. And you didn't have it coming in here, so we got to find it some way. I'm telling
Yeah.
you, it's a
Well,
whole different world. You're exactly
you
right.
got the intimidating look too, you know? I'm sure you could scare the life out of some of those kids.
You know what? A lot of people say that, and I never have a problem out of any of my students, and they're amazing students, and we got a lot of interest in the program that I run. So I get a lot of applications, get a lot of
Yeah.
really good kids, but there's a lot of people that say being 6'5", 330 pounds plays into that a little bit too. I'll
Oh
take any
yeah.
advantage I can, man. When I'm dealing with high
Yeah.
school kids, dude, I'll take any advantage I can, and if it comes natural, that's even better.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to use what you got, right?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you get back into town, and I'm assuming you come across this business card and in your wallet, and you give it
Nope.
a call.
I
No?
took that money and I went out west.
What? So you're
I
not
hop
done
back
yet. You
in.
go back to
I'm not
Chicago.
done. I'm not done. I'm going to see the west while I can.
Man, it's
So,
okay. So while we're getting there, this is all adding up. Your characteristics are coming into full display with the whole let's jump ship and start a coffee company. Everything's adding up. Keep going. So you start
yeah.
heading out west
Yeah,
because
so I
we
make it
still
I
got to
go
surf,
through.
dude. Yeah.
Yeah, I never got to it. I never got to the surfing. Ran out of money, but, I end up in Cheyenne, and I camp out in Wyoming state parks. I'm seeing, like, the part of the country that I've always wanted to be in, you know?
Yeah.
Um, and then I make my way down through Colorado. I'm in Arizona, and by this time, it's Halloween, um, and my buddy, Al, from the, race car shop that I worked for,
Yeah.
his cousin lives in San Diego, and he's one of my good friends now too. So I'm talking to him. He's like, "When are you coming out?" I'm like, "I'm in Phoenix, dude." He's like, "Oh, it's 6 hours. We got a party tonight for Halloween," you know? I'm like, "All right." So I drive over there. I end up sleeping on his floor for a month and a half,
That good of a
running
party,
out of
huh?
money. Yeah, yeah. I was like, "I'll just stay here and join the a shipbuilding company," you know, because they got
Right.
fitters out there too. I was like, so it was in my mind thinking about it, you know, I haven't looked back on this much, but thinking about it, that pipe fitting was kinda always there.
Yeah.
Welding,
Yeah.
it must have been the money thing that really grabbed me of like, "Oh, there's work, it's around me everywhere, and there's good money in it."
Right.
Um, but I ran out of money. I ended up coming back to Chicago, and my mom said she saw it on my face. I was just, like, bummed. I'm like it was right around Christmas time. I'm like, "I don't wanna be here. I wanna be in Arizona, somewhere out west." And, next thing you know, I'm like, "What? I'll just put in an application for the fitters here just to see what happens." Um, well, with my previous experience, um, I get picked for the fitters, and I get picked for their hybrid program, and that's 4 months of welding, unpaid, at least 5 days a week. I was in there for 5, 6 days a week, and it's 8-hour days minimum. Like, you're
Really?
going through it. Yep. If you don't show up on time, if you skip days, like, they can you. It's very strict,
How long's that
but
last?
that's 4 months.
4 months. Okay. Yeah, that's right.
4 months.
Okay.
Um, and with the previous welding experience, I caught on to some of the stuff, but pipe is different.
Yeah.
Pipe is very different, and stick welding was not my thing.
Okay.
So, and this is really where I want the younger generation to understand all this stuff that you're getting into, it's tough. You're gonna suck. You're gonna struggle with it for months and months and months, and then it'll click. And that's not just welding, that's everything in your trade.
Man,
You know,
you're not kidding.
we don't just weld. We work on steam systems, chiller systems. I mean, we work on all types of shit.
Yeah.
Um, but that's I look at everything from that perspective now.
Yeah.
As like, well, I couldn't weld either when I started. I couldn't, run a bead in
Right.
5P on a 6-inch root. Um, but now I can do it with my eyes closed, hanging upside down, and it's just like a feel, and it's just practice. But you're gonna suck at everything across the board,
Man,
and
you're
it's
not kidding. And a
gonna
lot of
be
these kids,
yeah,
they expect to step up and be good right out of the gate. They expect that.
yeah,
And some of them, when they'll bring me a weld, I think one of the biggest things that they hate to hear from me, they'll bring me a weld and it looks terrible. And I'll tell them it looks terrible. And they look at me like I just took all the wind out of their sails. They've never
yeah,
heard little Timmy's never heard, "Hey, that's not right. That doesn't look good." And
yeah,
they'll say, "Well, it's only my first time doing it." Well, I don't care if it's your first time or your 100th time. My job is to tell
mhm,
you that it sucks, but I'm here to make it better. And that's,
yeah,
that's tough for a lot of kids. A lot of kids want that instant gratification. They're not willing to put the work in to get something, to get better, to craft, to be a craftsman. They're not,
yeah.
they're too impatient for that. So your message, man, my students will hear that for sure. It takes time. That muscle memory, it takes practice.
It does, and it's that's exactly what it is. It's muscle memory.
Yeah.
It's you cannot speed up that time frame. Some
Mm-mm.
guys have natural talent that it goes a little quicker, or some people catch on, but that is few and far between. Um, if you're a normal human being like most of us, you cannot take time out of the equation.
That's right.
It's just you have to put the work in and grind.
Yep.
But if you do that when it does click, I mean, there's no better feeling than that. Than
No.
going, I don't even have to think about this. I can just run these welds out and make them look pretty, and I'm proud of them. You have some pride in what you're doing now.
Yep.
Um, and it's a great feeling, man. It's
Man,
awesome.
there's none better. And honestly, you touch base real quick on the natural people, the people with natural ability. A lot of what I see sometimes those people get left behind because they have the natural ability and that's what they fall back on. Guys like you
Yeah.
are grinding it out, man, and you're working day in and day out. So you're bringing that work habit, or that work ethic along with honing your craft. When it does click, you've got the work ethic to support that ability now, and it's off to the races. I mean, sky's the limit at that point. I've seen a
Yeah.
lot of really good natural welders end up at a factory somewhere for 16, 17 bucks an hour because they
Yeah.
didn't have the work ethic to push that forward. And you had
Yeah.
that from the start, man, from the start. So
Yeah,
two things that
it
you
was
had.
ingrained in me. Yeah.
Yeah. You had work ethic and zero fear of taking that jump. I mean,
I
there was zero
I'm a
fear in you.
risk taker.
You're to say the least, man. To say the least,
Yeah.
yeah. So you traveled the country before you were even what, 24? Something like that. And back home
Yeah.
twice. So you started off in the union. You're welding 4 hour 5 days a week for 4 months, and then the other side's fitting, I'm assuming.
Yeah, so so the way my union works, you have the construction side and then you have a service side. So
Okay.
service side is diagnostics on boilers, chillers, balancing systems. It's all instrumentation, getting
Okay.
things. They're kind of the doctors of the industry. And I have a lot of respect for those guys because some of the smartest guys I know in the trades that I
I'll
work
bet.
with are service guys. Um, my side is construction. So it's anything from building systems, engineering the systems, welding them together, making them work correctly. Um, with that, they really pushed welding. They
Okay.
used to do welding from so we have a 5-year apprenticeship. It used to be welding from third year on, and it was on your own time. Now it's you can't graduate, continue into your next year unless you have these tests
Okay.
accomplished. I'm not sure what they are now. I know there's a UA 60, which is like a 6G 2-inch coupon, extra heavy wall,
Okay.
and it's all stick. I think that covers a lot of what we do. Um, but I'm pretty sure there's 3 different certs now, first, second, and third year that you have to have before they'll even push you forward in the class.
Wow.
And if you're behind on those, um, have fun dealing with the guys down at the training center,
I'll bet.
because they know it's from your work ethic. It's
Yep.
not from, there's no poor me down there, which is really cool. We need more of
Hmm.
that.
Yeah. Right.
It's work ethic. And if you're showing up every day and really trying and something happens, they'll work with you. They're reasonable people. But if you're just not doing your part, like good luck, dude. You're you're gone. You're getting your ass chewed and then they're throwing you out the door.
Yeah, because if that doesn't work, yeah, that's exactly right. They don't want you on their sites. They know where they're
Yeah.
sending you. They know who they're sending you to, and they know they don't want your ass either. If you're not willing to go in there and put in the work, they don't want you.
Yeah.
Eh,
Yeah,
And
this is
that's the way it should be.
yeah. There should be some competition involved in that. That's
Absolutely.
what keeps the skill level high. That's what pays the bills for guys, and that's what guys wanna it's not fair to that guy that's, putting in all that extra time and working his balls off just to have to work next to this person that, put in none of the time.
That's
So,
exactly right.
and you'll see the weak ones get weaned out over there, which is pretty cool, and
Yeah.
I think I I I'm hoping that that continues to be that way, because it's just making it more and more skilled. Great.
You yeah. So you go through the apprenticeship program and you start pipelining. So what is a lot of your work there out of 597? It's 597, right? I did get that right.
597, yeah.
Yeah.
So we
What is
have
bulk of that work?
so the hybrid program was my 4 months, then I started my apprenticeship, right? So it's a
Okay.
5-year apprenticeship. So I got on with a small shop. We're in Mokina now, which is a south suburb. Um, but they were a boiler shop. So tons of steam systems, high pressure boilers. Uh, all our service side is they'll rip boilers apart. They'll do all the service work on them, rid lime them, whatever we have to do to make them work correctly. Um, and then just standard stuff. I work in a lot of industrial. I don't really do too much commercial stuff.
Okay.
I'm more chemical plants. I've been in the steel mills for a short run, and that was enough for me. Uh,
I
Lot of
bet.
refinery work in
I
our
bet.
union. Those guys, props to the steel mill guys, man. They are
Man,
a
they earn their money.
different breed of animal.
You're not kidding.
Yeah, so a ton of boiler work though. That's kind of our bread and butter at my shop, which is really cool because I enjoy that work. Um, so when I get on with my shop, I end up getting some really good guys to look up to that I was putting in the work, so they wanted to teach me.
Yeah.
And that's another lesson there. And I've been running work for 7 years now, and those are my favorite apprentices too. You don't have to be the most skilled. Have a good attitude, show up on time, and work hard. Like know the next step.
Yeah.
So I had my other buddy, John, one of the best layout guys I know. He just took me under his wing, and we were like riding side by side. He was always calling me out to his jobs. He was teaching me as I go, and here's why you do this. Here's why you don't do this. And I've learned more from that guy, I think, than anybody in the trade.
That's awesome. And people need to understand not everybody gets that opportunity.
Yeah,
That opportunity is available to everybody, but very few people have the humility and the desire to want to learn that incentivizes some old head that's been in the game for 30 years to take you under his wing. I mean, I experienced that myself but I was always that same person. I was a sponge and everybody knew it. They would see a young kid that's driven and wants to learn. That's when you start opening doors to really start getting that experience that you can't replace. You can't learn that in a textbook. That
no.
guy's been doing it. I don't how much more experience did he have than you?
He's 10 years older than me, but he got in right out of high school.
Yeah. So I mean, he's got 15 years on you in the game.
Yep.
I mean, he's forgotten more than you're going to know at that age. And
Yeah.
that's the lesson there is to be somebody like Rob to where people will want to pass that information on to you. So anyway, he taught you a ton and you're running work now for the same company. You still working for them?
10 years I've been with the same shop.
10 years.
Yep.
That's awesome. And I'm
Minus
guaranteeing
COVID,
you.
I don't count this bullshit 2-week COVID break where like we didn't have any work and the only two guys on a job site that stayed open, they
Yeah.
stayed and they were working when I was at home. So I don't count that.
Yeah.
That's a lie because they give me shit about that. I'm like, I'm the longest construction employee, puffing my chest out. And
But then they
I'm
tell
like
you you're not
seniority.
because
Yeah.
you had a little bit of a break there. Is that what they're saying?
Yeah. And they were working. My two buddies were working at the time. I'm like, man.
At
But yeah,
Chicago, you guys were shut down, weren't you?
so I was driving into the city, a little side story here. I would
Yeah.
have to, I was subbed out for that time. Like guys at our shop were just taking whatever we can get. Um, in the start of COVID, like, that first, I don't know, maybe 6 months was very weird
Mhm.
here because I was living in Indiana at the time, right over the border, and it was wide open and there
Yeah.
was no issue at all. And then I'm driving down here. It's like a different world. I'm like, what
Isn't
is
that
going
crazy?
on? It was wild to see, man. That's a
Man,
whole other podcast. We can
that's
get into that. I
crazy.
got a lot of thoughts about that.
Yeah, I'll bet, and I'm sure you and I line up on every bit of them.
I think so.
Yeah.
So I'm driving on the highway and I'd have to turn backwards on ramps. So I'd be taking an on ramp to the highway backwards to get into the city because they were blocking the city off so we couldn't get to work. And they're like, well,
What?
yeah, I got kicked off of Lakeshore Drive trying to meet
What?
my buddy John. Yeah, at McCormick Place. And I'm like, the cop's like, he's in front of me. Cop goes, come on through to him because he's got a beard and he looks older than me and, probably didn't want the attitude. I'm like baby faced over here. I pull up. I'm like, hey, that's my boss. I'm heading in with him. He's like, nope, other way. I'm like, I got to go to work, dude. What are you talking about? So there was a lot of that. It got very weird.
Wow.
Yeah,
I had
yeah,
no
strange
idea.
times. Yeah, strange times. But once that initial craziness settled, the rest of the city wasn't working. It was like tradesmen, cops, firefighters, and nurses were working. A lot of people weren't coming back to the city. Well, when that's settled, everybody goes, okay, this is a great time to do maintenance on everything and these
Yeah.
giant capital projects. So the work exploded over COVID and there was no traffic. So it was kind of sick
It's
in the,
perfect, huh?
in the long run, but at first it was just so strange.
That is. That's crazy.
Um, yeah, back to the same shop for 10 years.
Yeah. That
I got the opportunity at a plant that I'm still at when I was, middle to end of my 3rd year. The foreman out there, who's a friend of mine, he ends up dragging up because he gets his card and, going to a different shop. It's like giving him
Yep.
a whatever they were doing. Um, so the boss calls me and he goes, "Hey, you wanna run that account?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure. What do I do?" He's like, "Well, you're the guy out there now." So they bumped me up to foreman, so I started running work as a 3rd year apprentice, and they threw me in the
Man,
fire, and it was something.
I'll bet it was.
It was
Man, what
something.
so how old were you at the time?
I would be 26.
26.
I was
And you
26 at the time, yeah.
and you had guys that have been in the game a long time working for you. What was that like?
Yeah, it took a lot of getting used to.
I'll bet.
Um, yeah, if you have a 50-something-year-old dude that's gonna retire in 7, 5 years,
Doesn't give a
and he's got
shit.
a 20. Yeah,
Yeah.
got a that's my next point. You gotta be cool to people.
Yep.
It's gotten me so much further in life than being a dick. And these old guys, I like I like hard to deal with people now because I know the knowledge that they have, and I can sweeten them up a little bit. So
Yep.
I'm just like, "Dude, whatever you want, how can I make your day better?" Which has made me a better, leader, in the trade.
Absolutely.
Um, Because once I shifted that mindset, that applies for everybody now. It's like, well, how can I make this person's job go smooth? How can I set them up for success? Because I have to delegate power to them to be able to do that part of the job. So if I can set them up and give them some responsibility, that makes my life easier. It helps them out. Um, Now they're paying attention to it because they have some skin in the game on how that project turns out. So yeah, I would try to sweeten these old dudes up that did not want to deal with my shit. And it worked. I was just nice to them. I was like, I just want to help you. I get it. You have a lot more experience than me. I'm doing my best. Help me help you,
Yep.
essentially. Um, the guy that took me under his wing, it's probably not my biggest shutdown anymore, but that first year running that plant, I had the most guys working for me up until maybe the last 2, 3 years.
How many was
There
that?
was like there was 10 to 12 guys for poss maybe a month and a half, 2 months on the shutdown. Um, and that was getting thrown in the fire because that wasn't long after I took that account over,
Man,
you
that's
know?
awesome though. That's awesome. That's the only way to do it. It's the only
It
way to do
is.
it. There's never going to be a time, when you look back at that, and this is something I've experienced for myself. You look back at that and you say, well, when would have been the best time? When would have been a perfect time for that transition to happen? There's never a perfect time. It
Yeah.
never happens that way. And so the way you learn, man, is the way a lot of leaders learn. And sounds like you took control of it and earned the respect of the people working for you. And that's what it takes. I mean, I remember when I guess it was back in 2008 when everything took a tank. It actually took 3 years, I think 3 or 4 years to catch up with me in the miscellaneous steel department. So, as the buildings are getting built, we're the tail end of the projects. We're the ones putting in the stairs, the railing, and all that good stuff. So we're at the end of every project. So we had plenty of work all the way up until like 2013. Well, in 2013, I started not quoting anything because I was taking a loss on most everything. So I'm no quoting a bunch of stuff and liquidating assets, and I had to take a job as a off shift manager of an aerospace company in local to me. And that exactly what you just said resonates with me and hits home with me because I had two machinists, and I'm not a machinist. My dad was a tool and die maker for 42 years, but the only thing we had in common was metal. That's it. He's way smarter
Okay.
than me. So, yeah, way smarter. So,
Mine
these two
too.
machinists, between the two of them, had over like, I think it was close to 70 years just with this company alone. And they were the biggest dicks on the planet.
Yeah.
And everybody told me, stay away from those two. They were both named Tom. Stay away from the Toms. They'll give you an attitude. Man, when you're telling me to stay away from two guys that got 70 years of experience just in one location, those are the
Yep.
first people I'm going to sweeten the pot, try to get them on my side and help make my job better because I'm just a dumbass that showed up to run this place off of my past credentials. I don't know anything about what you guys are doing, but I know if I can get through to the Toms, they're going to help me get there. And that's exactly what happened. Same story, man. You start
Yeah.
doing things to make their job better, to make their job easier, and having again the humility to say, look, I don't know everything here, and I'm not going to act like I do. I need your guys' help. And that takes a long that I mean, that'll carry a young leader a long way. That's for
Yeah, well,
sure.
it's being honest about the situation, and people
Yeah,
don't realize it takes so much stress off of you.
absolutely.
Like,
And
you
you're not
don't
fooling anybody anyway.
no, we all
Those
know you
guys
don't
been in
know
the game.
shit.
You're not fooling anybody, you know?
Yeah. Yeah,
Don't even
those I
try.
mean, they sniffed me out, these older guys sniffed me
Absolutely.
out on a job site. Like, I haven't been running work. Why am I gonna try to fake like I've been running jobs and stuff? This is a new thing for me. I'm learning.
Right.
Um, and that was a huge learning curve, but I think the biggest, the lesson of just kinda stepping back and realizing that you're in the process of going through this and all the hits you're taking, you're getting your ass kicked constantly. You're dealing with personalities, all different kinds, and you're trying to make that mesh. And the skill that they never tell you about is people management
Oh, yeah.
and how important that skill is. And that's a learned skill. I didn't have that at first.
Yep.
My buddy John for that shutdown would show up an hour early with me. He knew the crew. We would set tool buckets up. He would give me suggestions. Hey, what if this guy works with this guy? Because this guy's a really good fitter and layout guy. That guy's a stud welder. He could learn something from the fitter. They could do that project and it'll go seamless. And they like working together, so they'll get along. And we would do that every morning, for this 5, 6, 7 week span, whatever it was. Um, and that was like one of the most valuable lessons I've had in the trade. Cause it's not that guy's a good welder. Well, if he hates the guy that's fitting for him,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
or he wants to throw the anchor out because he does not want to work. Like, just people management is such a underrated skill in the trades that you never hear about in apprenticeship. You never hear about it just on job sites. Nobody
Yeah.
talks about it. But then you see the natural leaders, which I've learned this. I'm by no means a natural leader in my mind. Um,
I would
you see,
disagree, but yeah.
I appreciate that. But yeah,
Yeah, man.
um, just to see people that are able to wrangle personalities and be even keel about it and, like, just smooth as silk.
Yeah.
It's to me, I'm like, "That's a bad dude," you
It's
know?
an art.
It is an art form.
It definitely is. And man, let's not underscore Rob, you've gotten I mean, I'm not gonna say lucky, man. It's you're blessed because you've had some phenomenal mentors in your life. Some incredible mentors. I mean, for somebody to sit down with you to have the foresight to know, I'm gonna, this kid's in a leadership position. This is the stuff that I've learned to pick apart as far as managing people. This is what I've learned over my past 15, 20 years in doing this. I'm gonna pass this on to this kid because look, a lot of that doesn't happen, and especially nowadays, that's getting further and further removed. I mean, we're having a
Yeah.
hard time just training the very basics of what we need employees to do, much less mentor them into leadership roles. And that needs to
Yeah.
happen more and more. And you've been extremely lucky in that regard because you've had some
I
phenomenal leaders in your life, dude. Seriously,
yeah.
that's
I don't
phenomenal.
Josh, I don't know how I got so lucky with the company I got into, shop I've been with again. Um, the owner's a leader. He's a young guy. He was working in the field with us. He ended up buying the company off his stepfather, and he's running it now, and I've watched him grow in the last 7 years. Um, like, just as a person, as a
Yeah,
boss, as an owner, I've seen his, uh, like, him as a person just, like, exponentially grow. The VP of my company is a bad dude. He's known he's a couple generations into pipe fitting. His dad was a bad dude, and he's a younger guy as well, and they're all savages, but they're even keel.
yeah,
But they are again, I don't know how I got so lucky because 'cause they're great guys. They'll work with you. They wanna see you succeed, and they'll help you any way they can. That's true leadership, is giving those younger guys the skills, the ability, showing them the ropes instead of just like, "Ah, you'll figure it out," type shit. Like, they will walk you through it if you need it, just so you can learn that so we're not running into the same problem over and over and over. Like, let them lead you, and I got some really good ones that have done nothing but great things for me.
Man, that sounds like it. Are they supportive too? Because we're going to get into this, into your coffee venture here. Are they
Yeah.
supportive of you in that regard too?
Yeah. That's the
Really?
craziest thing. Yeah, it's wild, man. Yeah, they're just genuinely good people, and
That's
it's been
awesome,
so
man.
cool to see.
Yeah. So,
I did earn a lot of that gift giving over the years though, you know? Um
oh, you for sure, and you don't have to go into specifics on how you earn that, man. Just the person you are tells me you earned that. There's no question.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, you can
Yeah,
tell just by who you are and how you think, how you process, how you approach your craft. Man, I could tell you earned every step of it. I mean, there's no question. But yeah, you've definitely had some
thanks,
people
brother.
leading you in the right direction. That's
Yeah,
for
I
sure.
was the overtime whore for years, so I
You
was
got
first man on
yeah,
the list.
that's
So if
it,
any
man.
emergency popped up, I said, "Send me, dude. I'm young, single, no kids. Let's go." Uh, that was that was me, investing in what I'm
Hmm.
doing now. And luckily they don't forget because they're good people, genuinely people. Um, and so they're really helping me out on this coffee thing by giving me breaks. They're like, you tell us kind of what your schedule can be this week. Do you have anything important? Here's where we'll need you. What do we got to do to work something out with you? So they approached me with that. My one boss
Wow.
approached me saying, because I was giving my truck back as a foreman. So I'm still running jobs here and there, but it's not emergency stuff with the truck anymore.
Okay.
And I was losing sleep on how to ask him about, um, like, hey man, the coffee world and the pipe fitting world happen at the same time. Like I have to do this business, but I also have to do this. I can't go roast coffee at 8 at night if I get stuck on a job. Like it's just a different thing.
Right.
Um, so it's translated into them really giving me some leniency and still allowing me to work, which I don't know what shop would do that.
What kind of weight was off your shoulders, man, when they approached you with that?
I was fighting this job too, so I was already pissed.
Ah,
And my boss like, "Hey, I'm gonna run out, uh, drop some stuff off." I can't remember what he's bringing. Um, but I was thinking about it for weeks at that point. Like, how am I even gonna bring this up to them? Because they don't
mm,
have to do that for me. They're
no,
they're the employer. They can be like, "No, dude,
absolutely.
you work for us. This is a full-time gig.
Yep.
If you don't want that, you can go find another shop."
Hmm.
Um, and it must have been something in the air or the universe or God telling him something because he shows up and he's like, I've been thinking, you know, uh, if you wanted to take a couple days off during the week and like really focus on the coffee thing, he's like, we all want to see you kick ass and succeed in it. And I was like, dude, where did it's the first time I'd seen him in a couple weeks too. I'm like, I wish I'd have just asked you a couple weeks ago and I wouldn't
eh,
have to out, but it's funny how things work and it's worked like that in the trades for me, and,
yeah.
weird things in the coffee business are just falling into place.
So tell me
Um,
about so pun intended. Where did that seed get planted? Well, I mean, come on, man.
yeah,
I mean, it's not real hard to put together. It's kind of weird. You go from pipe weld to coffee. What the hell?
yeah,
What made that go?
yeah, I heard stories from my mom that I would finish her coffee growing up when I was sitting
Okay.
on her lap as a little kid. I don't know if that's why I was just crazy about it. I like caffeine. I'm bouncing off the walls most of the times if you can't tell. But I was always the coffee guy showing up on the job site, and then when break time would come, I'd run grab a coffee to the point where my boss would call me, go, "You getting a coffee?" I'm like, "Shut up." Uh, but I was always just heavily caffeinated on job sites with coffee. Um, and before, and I'm always taking risks and like trying things. That's one thing. I'll try this. I might hate it and fail, but I'm gonna try it. Um, I had what was going to be an energy drink, like, a couple
Okay.
years before that, um, and I had the name Trade Fuel already for the energy drink, and it didn't excite me. Nothing about it excited me. It was made in a lab somewhere. There was, like, no it was all paperwork shit. There was no, like, feel for it. There's no like human involvement,
There's like
basically.
nothing organic about it at all, is there?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
all
There's nothing.
chemicals.
Yep.
Yeah,
And it might have been a way better business venture as far as money goes, but it just I had no interest in it at all. And at the time I was traveling so much, I just kind of let that go. But I still had the trademark for it. And last year I was just going through a dip, having a weird time in life. I was in New Mexico for almost 5 months the year before. I was just kind of like, what am I doing? And I got some time off and my brain just doesn't stop. Got the
yeah.
squirrel brain going on. And I was like, I got to do something. And then I'm always going out to get coffees and going on coffee walks or coffee drives. And just like always, I'm like, what am I got the trade fuel name. I'm obsessed with coffee and I'm in the trades. So it fits everything that I really like and want to be a part of. It was super organic and I was like, it just hit me. It was the only idea that I've had where I've tried something, business wise that was just like, that's, that's it. Like it just gut
Yeah,
feeling, it feels spot on. Um, and I jumped in head first and I was like, well, how do I do it? What do I do? Where do I find coffee? Do I have somebody roast it for me and wholesale it? How do I make this a business? Just every possible rabbit hole I could dive down, I did. And it's been awesome, man. It's been so enjoyable.
Rob, let's be clear about this. If you want to pursue a business in welding, you have unlimited resources.
Yes.
Your pool of resources are very, very small. And I would have to assume in a lot of ways guarded, right?
Yeah.
So you're not really like reaching out and calling somebody and saying, hey, what do you do in this situation? How do you deal with this in the coffee industry? Because
Yeah.
there's
I
so
had no clue.
right. And there's nobody to bounce this stuff off of. So where did you find that information? Was it you just the rabbit hole of the internet? Is that where you
I would so I was running a shutdown when I started this at that same plant.
yeah.
So that'd be my fifth or sixth one there. And I had a big crew working for me. And it was the longest shutdown that we've had there. And I would show up early and send emails to whoever I needed to email. And then when coffee would come around, I would send emails to whoever I needed to email, lunchtime, right after work. So I was trying to build this as I was working crazy hours pipe fitting. And I don't like excuses. Like
Yeah.
that's you're just gonna hurt yourself. And my dad's never taught me to pour me excuses. My grandpa's not like that. He's like, just do it. Well, how do you do it? So you just start, what's your end goal? Start breaking it down backwards. What do you want to achieve? Well, here's my first
Okay.
step.
Yeah.
So I just started looking at wholesaling coffee places and I got a bunch of samples from all these different places. And then I got pricing. What do I have to sell this at? What's my margin? How do I even make this thing work? And it came down to, well, I don't want to just buy something that's low quality, bag it, and sell somebody else's product. So I'm like, I got to learn how to roast, which is a whole nother rabbit hole. And I'm like,
Good Lord, I
where do I
guess.
learn how to roast? you know?
Seriously. I mean,
No, no. So
so how do you roast it without equipment like that?
so I go to it's called a co-roastery in Chicago. And
Yeah.
here's how weird the universe is. They opened that in February. I got my idea a couple months after that, and I was in there in September, probably August. I was in there in August roasting coffee, learn how to roast.
What?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, and
crazy.
it just works out like that. Um,
Yeah.
and there's no other place like it in Chicago. It's the only one in the city. Um,
Man, that's something else right there. That
Timing
is
was
cool.
perfect, and all
Is
those failed endeavors before that failed for a reason because that timing was, like, perfect?
man.
But yeah, do you wanna know how to roast coffee?
Yeah, man. If you got the time,
Alright.
sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, so it's super simple. It's just a rotating barrel. You have heat, which is gas is how we use it for a commercial roaster. It goes in as green beans that are processed. So I actually, uh, buy green beans from Costa Rica and Colombia right now, and then I
Okay.
got a Brazil coming in. But I source through this co-roastery because like my buddies before that had all that information,
Yeah.
well, they have all that information just in a different field.
Hell yeah, they do.
So it's a job site in a business with you call things different names, right? So like
Right.
the journeyman that's been doing layout for 15 years and is a badass at it. Well, that's Sarah that owns a co-roastery that's been sourcing coffee for 11 years and lived in all these different countries. Well, why would I try to figure that out for the next 11 years when she has all the knowledge?
That's exactly
So
right.
I'm going and talking to her. And then we call him T-Bone, Big Trev Dog, who's
Big
the
Trev
head
Dog
roast.
T-Bone.
Big Trev Dog, I love it. Um, he's the head roaster over there, and this guy's been roasting for 10, 11 years, and he's like a master roaster. Why would I start doing shit on my own in the, in my garage, or let me YouTube all this when I got this guy who's a wealth of knowledge right there.
Yeah,
And they're my
absolutely.
age. So it's just weird how that all clicked. Um, so anyways, I could source the beans that they could help me meet kind of my objective of like what quality do I want? Well, I don't want shitty beans because I'm not
Yeah,
putting bad coffee in a bag and put my name on it. Um, where do I want to source them from? What's the profile I'm looking for? And with their knowledge, I've learned just like it's sped up my learning process in coffee just like by years, you know, and it's all
that's
hands on.
incredible.
Yeah,
And so,
it's
and
been really
also it
cool.
puts you in a position of once you get the beans in hand, you're in charge of the quality, the consistency, everything. You've
Yep.
got control over all of that, which is
Yeah.
priceless.
Yeah. So we source it. Um, we source it. I have it there. I do my different blends depending on what it is. And then, um, sorry, somebody's pulling around on my driveway right now.
Oh, no worries.
Uh, I do my different blends there. I'll roast them to whatever that blend's roast level is. And then if it's whole bean, I'll bag it. I'll grind it if it's ground coffee. Um, Bag and ship all from there. Well, I ship from my office, so it's I'll basically load my truck up and then I run my
Yeah,
stuff to the office. But from top to bottom, I have my hands in that process, which has been like the
that's awesome.
coolest thing about it, you know?
Man, you're not kidding.
Um, and again, it's like welding. Like I sucked when I started at welding. Well, put me in front of a commercial roaster and I'm like, I don't know what to do. Like,
Yeah,
where do I turn it? I could figure out, basic stuff because it's like a machine that we work on. It's a mini boiler essentially.
right.
Um, but I didn't know what to do and I
No,
sucked. And
and that's
you're
a
gonna
craft all in
suck.
itself, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a whole
I
different
mean, it,
world now.
yeah, I'll bet. And it's not something
Yeah.
you get good at one time. I mean, there's no way. That has to be a craft in itself. And so when you go from roasted coffee, you finally get that down. You've gotten involved in this co-roasting. I guess it's a company. How many people are involved in that thing? I mean,
So
there a lot of
there's
people?
yeah, so there's Sarah who owns the place, and then Trevor's the head roaster, and those are the only two that like are employees basically of that place.
Okay.
There's probably 40 to 50 different companies that roast coffee there now,
Wow.
which is
Wow.
really cool. So just to give you
Yeah.
kind of some insight on it, it's on Goose Island in a like a cool old warehouse building. I think they have 5 or 6 roasters now. We're getting one we're putting in. I think it should have shipped today or tomorrow, which is like the most badass top of the line uh roaster that they make. All USA made, stainless steel.
Really?
Um yeah, it's cool. I'll have to send you some pictures of it. But
Yeah.
there's lines of roasters. They're different sizes, they're different makes and models. Um on one part of the wall, you have a taste testing room that's separate. And that's where you can do all like your science projects, figuring out your roast levels, doing all your cuppings and tasting what the coffee's actually going to be, uh, quality control testing. And then you have your bag and fill stations. So it's like a commercial kitchen for coffee, essentially.
Dude, that's awesome. And you pay
Yeah.
you pay like a monthly subscription, like a subscription to be there or what? Like a
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
that
So
how
it's
it's
like a
done?
storage fee and everything. The
Okay.
beauty about being a pipe fitter is I can kind of work on a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
And if roasters need to be hooked up, then that it helps me out.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So,
So I'm taking it that, we're still in the infancy stages of this business, right?
absolutely. Yes, sir.
Where are you at as far as have you gotten your product into stores, or
Yeah,
what kind of
so
progress have you made there?
yeah, so when I started this, I was just gonna do strictly e-com, and it's it's just different. It doesn't feel like business to me. Um, it's tough to build a foundation of trust just through websites and stuff.
Sure.
Um, so before I had my bags made, I had a couple really big goals that I set. And they involved getting into some of these supply houses. And that's kind of my next step. The biggest one, my giant 1 year goal. Well, I thought I was going to hit that towards the end of the first year. And I was going to hit these smaller supply houses and then bring that to them and be like, look, I'm in these places. I would love to be in your supply house. Well, we got that one first.
There you go.
Um, just I don't know how. Universe is weird like that. And they're so cool and just like such a family oriented company. Um, that they're letting me figure these science projects out of setting up a homepage for people to purchase in store, uh, figuring out the they call them frac packs to be able to roast or to brew coffee there, and it's all weighed out and like all this stuff that I would have had to do elsewhere. I'm doing it at the place that was my huge goal,
Man, that's
which is
awesome.
awesome. Yeah, it's been so cool just to see things kind of happen, you know?
It is, man, and it's been really cool though to hear it happen. Through your stories, because one thing I think is neat about every story that you've told, man, you were always prepared to put the work in, but somehow
That's
you just I don't know, man, you skipped the line in a
well,
lot of
that's what
situations.
yeah, I think that's
That's
what it is
awesome.
though. Uh, the less I do on my end, those opportunities never show up.
That's exactly
And
right.
then even if it feels like you're not making any progress, like you're spinning your wheels, if you're working and you have an objective in mind and you just keep grinding and grinding and grinding, it's so guess what? Josh Wolf hit me up on Instagram.
Yep. There
Hey,
you
I
go.
saw this those things just happen, but it only happens when I'm grinding every single day. And as
That's
soon as I
exactly right.
stop, all those opportunities dry up. They're not there. And I think the universe rewards that hard work behind the scenes that people don't see
Rob, how many times have you gotten into your own head and said, "Man, this is probably not what I need to be spending my time doing
every day,
every day"?
every
How do you
day.
get through that?
I call it my bitch voice and I get out of there real quick. I go, no, I listen to couple specific business podcasts, right?
Yeah.
Um, and there's a thing called pivot points that I've learned for situations like that. Um, and as soon as those come in your head, I call it a pivot point, and you recognize that right away, and you do the opposite of what that voice is telling you to do. Like every day, self doubt. That's
Yeah.
if you want me to be real with you, like self doubt. Is this gonna work? What inferiority complex? Just like why am I in this thing? These people have been in it for years, but I felt the same way when I got into pipe fitting.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of just pushing through all those bullshit feelings because that's what they are. They're not real. Um, I never thought I was going to run work as a pipe fitter. I was looking at these guys and go, I'll never be able to weld like that.
Yeah.
And then a couple years later, they're asking me if I can get welds and shit. Like it's just pushing through that mental struggle. That applies to everything. It applies to pipe fitting, business, working out and health stuff. That's just like the overlaying life lesson. And I wish more people could see that nobody knows what they're doing
Yeah.
99% of the time. And the difference between success in the trades or business or any industry is just moving forward and adjusting.
Yeah.
There'd be a lot more people out there getting after it.
Man, that's that you hit the nail on the head right there. And I just wish I wish more people thought that way. This podcast, I'm going to be honest with you. I've never listened to a podcast.
Really?
I I've never listened to my wife has in the car, like on vacation
Yeah.
and stuff like Crime Junkies or whatever. But
Yeah,
I've never
yeah.
listened to a podcast. I never made videos until I just started making videos, and I only did that because I had a point to prove to my kids that there was more on the internet than just a bunch of slush that was gonna make your mind deteriorate and make you do stupid ass
Yeah,
dances in the line at the grocery store.
yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, it's just that get after it attitude to push through whatever barriers come at you and to keep pushing. I mean, that's the number one thing, right? That's the difference between people who are successful in business and people that say, I wish I would have done this. It's
Yeah,
the people that are successful keep pushing through. They stay at it when everybody else bags it up and turns around and goes back home. And it's
yeah.
guys like you that have been successful in the trades, and it sounds like, man, the transition into the coffee world is going to be a super successful one too. What is your
It's
biggest goal so far? What is your biggest achievement in the coffee industry?
oh, man. Every every smaller goal that I've set, um, I've had this sense of urgency, and
Yeah,
I've seen those goals get hit before my deadline.
that's awesome.
Um, so those as a whole is probably, like, the coolest thing to see. The biggest goal so far is being in Porter Pipe, which is that huge supply house. And they're doing, like, trade fuel coffee Mondays over there, so they're putting my
Really?
coffee out. I built them a custom display where people can buy bags, they're brewing stuff, QR codes and cards, and I got trade fuel cups in there, and,
Hell yeah.
which I'm not gonna stop until I grow that into, like, a really great business relationship.
Hmm.
Um, so that's probably the biggest goal so far. Uh This is great because I never thought I'd start being on podcasts. I hate
Right?
hearing myself and looking at myself on any type of video. So,
That makes
again,
two
the
of us, brother.
uncomfortable. Yeah, and then you jumped right in, which is the craziest thing ever. But I
Yeah,
have a lot of respect for that, man, because it's super cool, and people need to hear what you're doing.
it's what we do. It's
Yeah,
just what we do. Like you said, we get something in our mind. Man, I'm in a I don't know, it's like 50, I think it's 52 by 72 or maybe 50 by 72 foot barn here that I had built for my kids a long time ago. There was a batting
yeah,
cage and some other stuff. And now it's evolved. It's got a CNC plasma table and some other shit out there. And somehow I built this podcast room because I wanted a cool place to sit and do podcasts. I've never built anything like this before, but I figured if I'm going to do a podcast on skilled trades, damn it, I better build my room.
yeah,
So yeah, built this room and again, figuring out how what the hell do you do it after you make a podcast? What the hell do you do with it then? So I had to figure out
yeah,
how to, I had to create a Spotify account. I've never done it. So literally everything that I've done too, it's the same thing. You just dive in and make it happen. And that's
yeah,
been your attitude with everything that you've done, man. Rob, it started from the journey to Florida. It's just there's been no barriers for you. You've pursued what was on your mind, what you wanted to do, and you did it with without any regrets. And that's what I've seen out of you so far. And that's what's going to carry you to a very, very successful run in whatever business you pursue, and especially in this coffee, with Trade Fuel Coffee. I love your slogan, man. Drink coffee, build America. It doesn't get any
yeah,
simpler than that. That is
yeah.
perfect, man. Love it.
Thanks. I was dying in the sauna, and
Yeah.
I thought of it. It's when I get my best thoughts out. I'm
That
like,
next breath. Yeah. Hell yeah.
yeah,
So
I gotta get out, and something will hit you. But
yeah.
anyways,
So what's your big goal with Trade Fuel Coffee? Where do you want
man,
this
I
thing
want
to
to,
go, man?
yeah, so I'm on a mission with this. I want to shine a light on the people that I think, deserve it the most, which is the trades.
Yeah.
Um, there's just all these stigmas about tradesmen, which I grew up getting the opposite of that, seeing guys in my neighborhood, seeing my dad and grandpa, um, who were just studs of human beings.
Mhm.
Um, but this stigma of tradesmen being dumb, blue collar, low paid, not smart, like that whole all the bullshit behind it. Um, I hate that. So my number one mission is to we're gonna turn that around.
Absolutely.
And I think it has to turn around regardless with the way the economy is going and kind of the markets switching over to blue collar trades. You're gonna be making a ton of money in the next couple years.
Phew. Yeah.
So I think a lot of that stigma is gonna go away as the money follows. Um, but I want to have an impact however I can with that, and then this is gonna be much bigger than coffee. At some point, I wanna do some sort of like you're doing,
Yeah,
whether it's trades competitions and we're finding talent pools and then having people be able to pick from those talent pools and growing, uh, growing talent through competition.
there you go.
Like we were talking about, you have to have a little bit of, um, grit to be in this thing.
Yeah,
Well, I rise to the occasion when I have a challenge or some competition. So if I could do that within the trade somehow through a company, um, that'd be great. And I guess all of it kind of revolves into, or all of it is revolving around community. So my favorite thing about the trades, besides learning a ton of cool stuff and getting to see plants that nobody's like the belly of the beast, um, my favorite thing is the camaraderie. Like, you
hmm,
might be working 16 hours and something goes sideways, and there's 5 of you there, and you don't know when the day's gonna end now, and it's 10, 11, 12 at night, and you're like, "We're stuck here until this is done because this plant shut down, and there's no excuses." Um, and those it's like trauma bonding, you know,
yeah, right.
through the trades because 'cause you're
Yeah,
going through
seriously,
it. Um, so that community, that camaraderie, that's kinda my favorite part. When I'm not on job sites, that's what I miss. I'm like, "Man, they're probably having so much fun on certain job sites," you know?
yep,
Uh, so building that community around the trades through a company where I can provide, like, a product that I'm very proud of, that I know the quality of, that I have my hand in literally every step of this product, it just means it it means a ton to me, and that's the overall mission, I guess, is build community around something, and that's the trades and start turning that stigma around.
that's awesome, man. That's yeah, that stigma. Yeah, we that was put in place for a reason. We all know
In the
that.
'80s,
Uh,
right?
eh,
Yeah.
yeah, that's exactly right. We know why it was
Mhm.
put there to drive people to college and help
Yep.
fuel the machine. But
Yep.
that yeah, that's another podcast too, an
Yes, it
indoctrination
is.
podcast. Maybe we'll get there at some point.
Yeah, we could do
But
that.
yeah, the man. So when you're not pipe fitting, when you're not brewing coffee, what are you doing to chill out, to relax, to have fun? What are your hobbies, Rob?
I don't have a ton of that anymore.
It's tough to
Um,
find time, isn't it?
yeah, I mean, kinda my break during the day is just hitting the gym. I
Yeah.
was doing jujitsu for a few years there. I had a neck injury. I haven't been back in probably 6 months or more.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, I just work. Like, we're gonna get off this call here, and I'm gonna
Hmm.
just keep working on stuff. There's always something I could be doing, and that's fun to
Good.
me. I'm having
Yeah.
so much fun within this coffee game right now, that's kinda all my focus is on. Uh,
That's
and
important, dude.
I don't wanna have balance of, like, work life, fun, no, I wanna
I don't even know
focus
what the
on
hell that
this.
means.
Yeah, I'm sure you see it. You're probably
Yeah.
doing 10 different things at once as well.
My gosh.
What's
Yeah.
what's your day look like? Because I wanna know what you're involved in.
So my
I
day.
tried looking up your school
Yeah.
and kinda your programs,
Yeah.
but I wanna hear it from you.
Okay. So my day, I fell into teaching. Like I said, it was about 13 years ago. I needed work. I'd liquidated most of the assets of my company, but I kept a hold of everything that I wanted to keep a hold of in case that second round was going to come around.
Yeah.
And like I said, I was in the business of miscellaneous steel erecting. So stairs, multi-story steel stairs, miles of hand railing. It evolved into glass rail, all kinds of stuff. So, I was approached by the school and they said, "Hey, we heard you're available." And I said, "Well, that depends on who's asking." And they said, "We are. We'd like you to come in and talk to us." And I said, "Well, I'm kind of happy where I'm at. These people are good and they pay me a fair price or a fair wage." And they said, "Well, let's see if we can pull you over to the dark side here in education." So I went in and talked to them and I told them no 3 times. And the last time they were like, "Hey, look, did we mention this is a 185-day contract? This is what we're willing to pay you a year to work 185 days." And I'm like, man, nobody has ever really told me I only had to work 185 days. And in my mind, I had just shut down a business and I actually owned an internet marketing company. That's a different podcast that I
Okay.
started to remove myself from payroll when my business was going downhill. due to the economy. So I was soaking up quite a bit of the payroll. And I'm like, well, how the hell? Only thing I ever have known is welding, fabrication, erecting. How do I remove myself from that, still keep my company going, and put a paycheck in my pocket? So I started an internet marketing company and literally from a stack of books taught myself how to build websites and all that good stuff and ended up selling it later on down the road. But I took the job as an instructor and dude, I was there for like a year and I kept getting these phone calls nonstop. We need this quoted. We need this stair quoted. And I kept telling them, like, I'm not in that game anymore. I'm a teacher. You're a teacher. What the hell are you doing teaching? Yeah, I don't know. That's a great question, but that's what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
I'm not in that game. So after enough of these phone calls, man, I reached out to a guy that used to work for me who was actually a welding instructor at another vocational school in Ohio. And I said, hey, do you like teaching? He says, no, I hate it. I said, perfect. Come run my company. And so he came over as operations manager. And, I was right back into the swing of things. And that was just my days then looked a lot different then. It was tough. So anyway, I quit doing business. I've got 3 kids. I've taught 2 of my 3 kids. My daughter, my youngest, just graduated last year from my program. She's not a welder, but she's qualified flux core D11. She's pretty proud of that.
That's
My
badass,
2
man. That's gotta
Yeah,
be
my 2
cool.
boys are aerospace TIG welders, but my day
Wow.
now is a little bit lighter than it used to be. I get to go in and teach throughout the day.
Yep.
That's my day to day, man. And talking to people like you in the afternoons. I got it caked now. My days
No,
back
it's
in the day were a lot busier.
you earned it.
Oh man, I appreciate that. It's
You
been
earned it,
hard work.
and you're doing what's so cool about this is, my biggest skill, toot my own horn, is resourcefulness, right? We
Yeah.
talked about that a little bit.
Hmm.
I think that's probably yours too.
Yeah.
You seem like you you had all these different paths, all these different things to choose from, and you just figured out how to get it done.
Yeah.
Ah, and that's what it takes. You're just no excuses, doing what it takes and resourcefulness, man. I think that's huge. I think we have a lot of similarities there.
We definitely do. And the more well, the as you're talking, you know, guys, we're few and far between. Not everybody's built like us, or the world would be full of entrepreneurs. It's just not that
Yeah,
simple.
yeah,
And people, they reject adversity. They reject things that are hard, that are tough. I thrive on that. I could tell you do too. It's like, I'd never built a multi-story steel stair until somebody laid down the print in front of me. And it's like, okay, well, this is metal and math. Let's get at it. You know,
yeah.
um, and that's the way I approach everything. And I know as your story unfolds, as you're telling me this story in the podcast, man, I'm like, damn, this kid is. I call you a kid. What are you? 35,
I'm 30,
34?
33.
Yeah, so 33, yeah, you're a kid to me. So I'm thinking, man, this dude sounding just like me at that age.
Yep.
I had that same hustle, still do. It's just focused differently.
It's
That's for
adjusted.
sure.
Yeah, yeah,
That's awesome, man. I'm extremely proud of you. I want you to keep doing this thing, and honestly, Rob, I'd love to be a part of it as you move forward.
yeah.
I'd
I
love
would
to get
love
my
that,
hands on
Josh.
some of this trade fuel coffee
Yeah,
and give it a review and help get the word out. Because I think it's imperative that we support each other.
agreed.
I don't think people just don't understand what it's like until they've lived this life. And
Yeah,
knowing that the owner of a company like that, like the owner of a company like Trade Fuel Coffee, knows what it's like to be in the trenches, knows what the hardworking men and women in skilled trades are going through on a daily basis, and is building a product that they're proud to serve to those people. And that right there speaks volumes, Rob.
thanks, brother. I appreciate it. I would love to have you involved any way we can.
Yeah. So
Um,
moving forward, man, I would love to be a part of it. I'd love to help you spread the word, and I want to see you be successful. And um, I appreciate your time today. Is there anything that you want to tell these viewers before we get off of here? Any little bit of advice that you want to leave with them?
I guess for the younger guys, my biggest piece of advice would be you're gonna suck. It's gonna be hard, but there's nothing good that doesn't have that involved.
Yeah.
Um, you're gonna be uncomfortable, like anything that's great in life. You're gonna be super uncomfortable. That should be your compass. Back to Jesse James. This is one
Yeah,
thing I remember from my childhood. I think it was Motorcycle Mania. He talks about when I have all these people around me telling me that this is a bad idea or that's a bad path. He goes, that was my compass. So he goes, if all these people are telling me, no, 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 that's a bad way to go, well, he would literally go that way. And look how successful that person is going against the grain,
absolutely.
going against what everybody else told him. So that bit of uncomfortableness, being in a shitty spot, you suck at whatever skill you're trying to learn, keep digging. Like that's normal. And to achieve that skill, it's gonna suck, but it'll be so worth it. And just you got to jump in, man. Take the risk and go for it.
That's great advice. Great advice from a pipe welder, pipe fitter out of 597 in Chicago, owner and founder of Trade Fuel Coffee, Rob Weber. Rob, it's been a pleasure having you on today. Can't thank you enough for your time. And man, I look forward to having this conversation again sometime in the near future. All the success coming your way. Man, I'm excited for you. I'm proud of you. And again, thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
Thanks, Josh. Looking forward to it, man.
Yeah,
Thank you
man.
so much for your time and for reaching out.